you are. It's lovely to see you here. And we are at our final alumni masterclass for today. And we are joined by none other than Leo. Leo, thanks so much for joining us. I know it's very late where you are in South Korea. So I appreciate your time. And I know the guys will as well. So thank you so much for coming, firstly.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody. It's great to be here. And I had a great time with WPG when its first time happened.
Yeah, I mean that was sort of going to be my first conversation really. I think you were actually in one of the very, if not the very first one, weren't you, in 2016? So
16. We're in America.
Yeah, fantastic, and so much has happened since then.
I know.
I know. So I didn't know if you could tell people maybe watching at home a little bit about yourself and maybe your new career developments, because I know your life's changed massively recently. So.
Yeah, so my name is Le Yu, and my English name is Leo. So I'm currently teaching at the Royal Northern College of Music as their marimba teacher. And also have a new job, which is I only came into the new position last year, September. So I'm the director of percussion and deputy head of strings, wind, brass, and percussion at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, Shenzhen School of Music. So besides of my teaching, basically traveling both countries, I do concerts as well, and also have a percussion duo called Aurora Percussion Duo. It's been 11 years we're playing together. So yeah, it's a little bit about me. So I'm teaching and performing and playing chamber music, playing solo concerts and concertos with different orchestras traveling around. And that's actually since the first trip with the World Percussion Group back in 2016. So after that, been kept really busy. So it's so great to be back here to talk to the WPG newcomers. So it's great to be here.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, so I think we've probably got about 25 minutes each person for you to comment on, and I'm sure the guys will have a few questions as well, if that's okay. But first off, we'll bring on our first artist from the USA, Hunter.
Hello, everyone. How's it all going?
Yeah, good, thanks. So as ever, we're very, very well versed in this process by now. But if you could just maybe tell Leo a little bit about yourself and what you're going to be playing whilst I cue the video, that would be fabulous.
Yeah. So obviously, my name is Hunter Gross. I'm currently residing in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and just finished my first year of full-time teaching, and then finished my grad degree 2 years ago. Got my bachelor's at the University of Oklahoma, went to the University of North Florida with Andrea Vinay to study and get my grad degree with her. And I just spent the year being a adjunct professor at a local university around here and doing the high school percussion director thing as well. But now this next year, I'm just going to be doing full-time adjunct work and working on the solo realm. I'm also a member of the Heartland Marimba Quartet. So I just got back last weekend from doing a gig out there. So our season just ended, and now we're looking forward to our 2023-24 season. So very excited to be here, and obviously it's a pleasure to meet you there, Leo. And I probably should talk about what I'm playing. I'll be presenting Boom Slang by Roshan Tazadi. I know it's I think an 8-minute piece or something, so we can maybe play the last 5 minutes or 4 minutes. But I played this piece. This recording was from my last year in grad school, so we still had masks on. So unfortunately, I won't be able to see any facial markings. But I love the piece. It's not as played as much, and it's fairly new. And I mean, I'd say I think it was written in 2007, excuse me. But it's one of my favorites, and I'm looking to do DMA auditions this next school year. So I'd love any comments you have on it, because I'm just trying to decide which piece I want to play, but I'm thinking about bringing this one back a little bit. So I'd love any comments or thoughts that you have on it.
Yeah, great. Fabulous. And I think actually, Hunter, we probably have time. We can play the whole thing if you want.
Perfect.
It's 8 minutes, so that's okay.
Sounds good.
Because David's is quite short, so that's absolutely fine. All right, so I'm going to put myself backstage, and Leo, once the video's concluded, feel free to offer some feedback, please. If that's all right. All right.
All right.
Hello, Hunter. Great.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That piece is exhausting to watch.
Yeah, actually, this is my first time heard this piece.
Awesome.
I think it's a great playing. And also I writing down, I said, great playing. You're very musical, and you have a great musicianship. And also,
Awesome.
specifically, I think you're very sensitive with the sound, especially when you play in this particular concert hall. You
Hmm.
really take the time to really let the hall actually digest the sound of
Right.
you control the melodies you're using, and also how the relationship in between you and the instruments, also with the venue. Because I think um, sometimes when we play in the concert hall, especially we're traveling around, we're
Right.
playing this same piece but in a different venues. Actually, it produces a different sound. So sometimes I think often, sorry, now we're just generally speaking.
Hmm.
Sometimes we forget we play in different places, and
Right.
also when we play this instruments marimba in the concert hall, actually produce a different sound to the audience. So actually, in this video, I think you really played the piece with the relationship of the concert hall. So it
Hmm.
really kind of went really well. So I hear like every time when you play it very loud, and then you're going back to something really quiet, and then crescendo to loud. So I can really hear like the digest of the sound in this performance. So it's really great. I really like
Thank
it.
you so much. I appreciate that. That's
I
amazing
like
to hear.
I like the piece really well, actually. It works really well.
Hmm.
So, I mean, my question for you is, what are you trying to achieve for this piece when you play it?
Right. The biggest part that I'm trying to convey to the audience especially the biggest thing is that the kind of the recapitulation at the end where we recognize this theme that is thrown throughout the piece, the dun 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 dun. That's kind of
Mhm.
sprinkled out throughout the entire piece. So my goal when I was playing this was to have that stick out wherever it's at. Throughout the middle section, it kind of gets a little hairy and is not as true to what the theme is technically. But at the end, I really wanted to bring out that theme, and also be as expressive as possible through the piece. I know boom slang, it's written after like the boom slaying snake, so the piece kind of whines, and I wanted to kind of personify that in my playing of being mysterious, like that, not leading anyone to a certain spot, and might have to mess with your expectations a little bit, which I think the piece does. So, trying not to be too recognizable in certain moments with different parts, but also bringing in that theme as well.
Mhm.
That's kind of like that theme I sung was kind of the biggest thing that I think Rushing kind of took through the piece, of determining, what can audiences recognize. So my goal was for them to recognize those sections, and for them to actually hopefully have some imagery of the boom slain snake or something in their mind similar to that.
Yeah, yeah. And so when you play the piece, and what are you
Mhm.
thinking in your head? What are you thinking? Are you thinking bring a story, or what are you trying to do for this kind of thing? Because what you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, while I'm playing it, obviously there's a bunch of different sections, and
Yeah.
if you have my score, it is written
Yeah.
all over from different parts of different sections. So while I'm thinking, it kind of my mentality kind of morphs. So at the beginning, I'm trying to be as calm as collected as possible, and in terms of where I'm going, I'm letting the dynamic shape where I'm going mentally, where I'm finding the next notes. The
Mhm.
dynamics has a really big part of that, or accent patterns. I'm breaking up a lot of these accent patterns into different twos and threes and fours, and trying to feel that the normal kind of phrase objects that we would use for a typical like 4-bar phrase or something, but using that into this mixed meter stuff. All the way until we get to the kind of the C section, which I think is around, like, okay, looking at like measure like 8, the slithery section, not measure 8, page 8, um, where we all go into 12/8, and it's a different kind of ambiance. There's constant playing, there's constant 16 notes. So my mentality is a little different in that section, and as well as the following section after that,
You got a nice
where it
string of
gets.
snake. You got a nice string of snake on top of the music.
Yeah. Oh yes, that was actually a good drawing from my teacher in a lesson, I believe.
Yeah,
Which is
great.
actually it's actually a pretty good drawing. But yeah, I'm just trying to have this image of a snake throughout the entire piece. If I could have a broadened sense of what I was thinking the entire time.
Okay. So you're thinking about this piece in like smaller sessions with a different story, or you're thinking a big picture of you feeling which different sessions and while you're playing. So for
Hmm.
example, like for me, if I play in the piece, I'll be like, oh, I'm thinking about, the snake, but also maybe I think um about this snakes like a day, like in the morning, what
Right.
it's doing in the afternoon and in the evening. And so basically for my playing, I always have an image. So I was thinking what kind of this can be interesting for me as a player to play these things. And when I talk to the audience, do you normally talk to your audience when you play?
No, I do not. Not this concert. This concert was just kind of boom, 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 piece after piece. But that's obviously kind of a goal of mine is to kind of understand the piece. Obviously, I don't think I had program notes either, so obviously they're not kind of going to know what the piece is about. But that's an excellent idea, though.
Yeah. So what do you, because I think this is quite a good debate point actually. But some
Hmm.
of the people really love to talk to the audience about
Hmm.
what they're playing, what they're presenting, about the story and the background of the piece to the audience. So for them to help them to understand the
Right.
piece well, the music well. But some people like really doesn't like to talk to the audience. They just want to go on stage, bow and play, and that's it. And you
Right.
tell actually what I'm playing. So what kind of type of you?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the first realm, especially with all the quartet gigs I've been doing.
Yeah,
We talk after every piece. We want the audiences to know what this piece was about. Why did it come about? Especially because we do a lot of commission work, so we kind of like to talk about the artist relationship,
yeah,
but also explaining some of the pieces themselves. So I'm definitely part of that first realm. If I could go back, I definitely would. I think talk about this piece a little bit. And I think it most likely deserves it. So that's a good point you're making there because I'm definitely part of that first realm. I'm not the I just want to play and get out of there kind of artist or
yeah.
anything similar to that. Which
Great.
if that's your choice, then go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of mallets you're using?
If I remember right, I believe I was using. I think they were the Michael Burritt
Yeah.
series, either the eights, the 13s. I think they were
Okay.
the eights, and
Yeah.
then I think a chamber. No, they were the 13s with a chamber eight in the bottom.
Yeah. So is it Michael's mallets? Is double tuned or just one
Yes.
tone? Double tune is it?
Yes.
Because sometimes I can hear like the double tune when you play the bass register of the marimba.
Hmm.
So do you
Yeah.
use combination, isn't it?
Say that one more time.
You use combination mallets rather than a same model.
Yes, yes. I'm using, I think for this performance, I was using actually three 13s and then one. So a different combination of that. I wasn't using four different, not a graduated set or anything. I
Yeah.
believe I might have had a harder mallet in the top if I remember right. So
Yeah.
maybe a harder 13, 8 8, and then a chamber 8 as well. That's a little different chord, not duotoned.
Yeah.
So something a little, but I kind of heard what you're hearing as well, especially in the end where I'm putting a lot of force into the bars, like I'm maybe reaching that maximum point of
Yeah.
hardness with the mallet.
Um, so
But yeah,
sorry, go on.
no, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's the combination. That's kind of the combination I go towards. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well on what you use
Yeah.
typically in a lot of solo realm.
Yeah. Are you happy with the mallets you used?
Um,
Are you are
Not
you still
necessarily. I would probably change them to something. They're a little attack front, so I might add a little bit more warmth if I could.
yeah. Yeah, for me, when I hear the performance, I think the melody is, I mean, it's good, and I think you played everything very clear. But sometimes I think with the instrument itself, it made by wood, so it's sometimes
Hmm.
really fragile when it's
Right.
from middle to the bottom part. For example, the ending, you really kind of go for it. So sometimes I feel like my question would be like, is the instruments are hurting, or sometimes I can feel that, but I mean, you
Right.
handled it really well, so it didn't to that point, but you played it really well. So sometimes I feel also this is it's a long piece, right? It's 8 minutes,
Right.
it's a long piece. So and also it it actually this piece it involved in order, high register, middle register, low register. So I
Hmm.
think um I'm the person who use combination mallets as well. So
Okay.
I feel sometimes if you could have a different set to try on, just try on a different sound to play on the instruments. Maybe because I can feel the mallets is quite light, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe try if you have like a bit heavier weight mallets. So it could be probably helps to you to produce a more bass around sound ish, and also
Hmm.
because this piece lots of there's quite a lot rest, and also sometimes you have to like for center 40 and from really really loud and to really really quiet.
Right.
Maybe I think maybe just try like a one tone melody as well rather than double tone, because sometimes I know double tone it really helps those kind of type, but sometimes when it's too extreme musically the piece sometimes it can like sometimes surprise with the sound.
Right.
Maybe try a
Yeah.
heavy melody. I don't know if you have heavy melody or
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I think whenever were kind of going about the piece and the learning process and the creative process with it and making that mallet choice, I know we were going for attack, but not too much. So I think we almost got it. But I think throughout the learning process and me playing with the mallets, I think they hardened up a little bit. And
Yeah,
so they start to get that almost, it's a very tingy sound when the marimba, where you're getting a lot of that just immediate attack from the low register.
yeah.
But I
I,
could still hear that now. I mean, like most of the mallets I use today are not duotone, and they're more of that round sound
mm,
core, where I'm able to have access to the entire range of the instruments. I think maybe part of my choices during that were just because of the duotone having that top of the mallet to get
yeah.
really soft with it. But I
Mm,
feel like, I mean, obviously this was a year ago or 2 years ago, so obviously I can make something happen with a different mallet if I needed to. So.
yeah. So I'm thinking like actually because this recording because of two microphones actually just in front of you your
Hmm.
instruments, but I'm just thinking if the people it's quite a large concert hall, so just thinking if the audience sit in the concert hall and maybe in the back row of the concert hall, can
Right.
they hear the quiet bits? I mean obviously the louder bits they can hear, but when you play the quiet bits to make the round chorale sound, and when you make
Mm.
it really kind of deep low sound, if you play really quiet, can they hear that? Because when I say if you try, I mean it's just this is it's not like essential. It's just a different kind of feeling of how you play to create a sound when you play really quiet with a bit heavier melodies. I think it gave the instruments a bit like weight, so
Mm.
they can hear a bit more of the low register.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Sorry, I was writing some notes there. That's a great point, because I'd rather let the mallets do the work than me trying to pull the sound out of the bar.
Mm.
So that's a great point there. With the heavier mallet, so are you going for like a little more of a softer core and or a little more yarn you're thinking on the mallet, if that makes sense?
I, I I think well, some of the mallets have a really heavy core, but
Hmm.
sometimes I feel like it's still some of the brands they use wooden
Right.
core. Sometimes I feel it hurting the instruments. Depends
Mm.
if you're a heavier player, because I'm quite heavy player, so I always really go with my full power. But because you use Stevens, I don't know if you're you know
Mhm.
light or you're heavier, or I don't know what you.
I, I think if I'm a heavier Stevens player, I don't play too light. I like to wail into the instrument, kind of similar to you. I also use Burton as well, and that really allows me to get a little more power if I need to. But Stevens is the grip that I'm using most of the time. But I don't shy away from it. I'm not too light with the grip. So
Yeah. So sometimes if you have like a heavier malice and if it's more um bigger head, and I think it helps you to really go for the sound of like example for like the ending of parts. You really can go for it. So you don't have
right.
to worry about breaking the instruments. Is the malice gonna be something happens? I think you just can go for it and really lift the concert where people are like, wow. So you really
Hmm.
kind of taking this piece to the end. Like, as what you said, you want to really go for it, smash it
Right.
in the.
Well, and I had the most recent experience, kind of experiencing this kind of subject. I played con last year, and I went through more rather than going the Burritt to the Van Sice route. I used I can't remember. It might have been like the Malatek Harnsbergers, but they were a little more round. It had a little more yarn on them, a little more weight, and that helped me immensely through that piece because I was able to not have to work so hard at the low end. I'm just letting the mallets, drop and do their thing, but also at the end, I'm able to go crazy and not feel like I'm going to break the low D or the low C sharp or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. And you have a great technique, so I don't have to talk about technique with you. I think it's purely about the interpretations of how you play the music, and also maybe just to discuss like some possibilities.
No, this has been great. This is I'm taking so many notes over here, so I really appreciate it. Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a great point to make. The heavier mallets, because this piece it goes by so fast. Things happen, and then we forget about it, and now in a different section. I feel like that would kind of take the piece to a new level. So
great. So, do you have any questions for me actually? Because
let me see. I have a couple, obviously not related to the piece. I did have one that I love your interpretation on. Sorry, I'm scrolling through. It's the end of one of the sections, page. Jeez. So here, while I'm looking, let me ask you another question. So obviously, you said that you're traveling back and forth and doing shows and everything. What do you feel like you're doing the most of nowadays? Are you doing like more orchestra gigs more, or do you feel like you're trying to get more of the solo realm? Or obviously, you said you had a duo. So what's taking up most of your artistic time?
I think right now, for example, for the past year, what I did mostly solo concerts and concertos, and also my duo. So I think if you, generally speaking, more solo and chamber sides.
Awesome. Yes. I'm thinking. Yeah, because the reason I ask is I'm in this quartet, and I'm trying to balance solo stuff and teaching, and I'm like, all right, what needs to have the biggest priority in terms of my time? Obviously, it kind of depends on what your season looks like with shows, but I guess related to programming as well. I feel like as trying to be a solo artist and putting out music, I feel like that we have to kind of reinvent the wheel every single time we have a new album or a new program or something. I would love to hear your thoughts on that, or if you have concerts where I'm going to bring out some of the oldies and also mix it up with a couple new commissions, or what's your kind of process in programming a solo concert or one of your duo concerts?
There's quite a few questions actually. So basically, when I play a solo concert to the audience, because for now, for me, the time is different than when I was students. When I was students, I want to try everything I could, and I want to try every possibilities, every opportunities to do it, to achieve to my goal. But now, I've been working for many years now, so I'm thinking each year what I want to do. For example, I want to do solo concerts. My manager will ask me, what's your idea? What's your plan for the thing? So, and also, I've been playing quite a lot of concerts in the different concert halls, not in the music conservatoire. So I have to be careful with the repertoire choices, because I don't want to play a full, very academic repertoire, and people will never buy tickets anymore. So I have to think about what kind of theme I have, and will attract the audiences. They will want to come to watch a percussion concerts, because when you're in the general public, you're thinking how much they love to watch a piano concert and a violin concert. For percussion, they'll be like, oh, what is percussion? It's still, I think still nowadays we've been developed so much, but it's still to the general public, they will be interested to know what repertoire we're playing. So I have to have that mission as well in my head as well. So introduce the repertoire from our genre, and also the piece, they will think, oh, this is great, and I want to, for example, I did a concert last week, and if you have a concert next week, I want to buy a concert for Hunter, I want to go to watch him because I love percussion. So I think you always have this mission. For programming, I think each year is different. For example, for those recent years, electronic music has been quite popular in our percussion world. I'm thinking like next year I'm on tour, I will be having like a full program, which is percussion with electronics, which is different, like body percussion, and timpani, and marimba, and snare drum, different ways. It depends. So it depends what I wanted to do. I think my manager were talking to me like what actually the market will like this program, and maybe do some digest of the thing. And also in the same time, I'm doing my duo, because my duo is professional duo as well. So, and also don't do too much.
Yeah,
I sometimes,
that's so true.
yeah, because sometimes I feel like you're doing too much, and I mean, we have one brain, so we have to think about.
Right.
I want to focus on one thing. For example, this year maybe I have 20 concerts. Maybe I want to do 10 solo concerts, 10 duo concerts in a different period of time. So the
Right.
timing management is very important, I think. And also
Hmm.
for CDs, I thought about CDs as well, because I'm going to do my CD as well. I
Hmm.
feel it's s- I mean, this is a quite interesting question, because so many people wants to record like milling or velocities, and
Yeah.
I've heard there's so many different style. So I think for a newcomer, if you want to come out to the market, to the world, and to announce who I am, it's something I think nowadays is 2023. I think it's something represents you. I think it's very personal. Like, I feel it's personal. Like when I doing when I'm thinking about the program, and when I'm thinking what I'm trying to present, it's really about me and about what I trying to give to my audience.
Right.
I
Gotcha.
think uh,
Well, that answers a lot of my questions, and made a lot of great points there. That's super important. That's something I've been thinking about a lot as well. I've commissioned a good amount of solo music with percussion electronics, and I've just been kind of sitting on it and trying to figure out how to formulate it into a CD or an album. And that's been something that I've been struggling with, is how do I make this personal to me? So I'm definitely gonna think about that a little more headstrong and dive into that a little more. Um, but yeah, I really appreciate all your comments and everything. I know Tim's here. We probably got only a couple minutes left, but um, kind of the last thing I'd ask you is, you said that you have a manager, and how has that experience been, having management through all of this? Because I've heard, don't get management. Management helps a lot if you don't want to deal with booking or all this. But I'd love to hear just your thoughts and your experience with that.
I mean, the management it really helps, but it
Right.
depends what kind of type of management. Because
Hmm.
like when you're thinking about asking us hold into music, all those the world's biggest management. I mean, they're great, but the things like, do they have time for you?
Right.
So that's the other question, because normally they have a bigger company, they're very busy. So I always worried about, do they have time for you? But with smaller companies, with like individual management, I think if it's really depending on the relationship between you and the manager. So if there's a
Yeah.
click, you both, I think that they're really trying to push you to a next level, and also you have your own resources to go
Right.
into the next level. I think it's important, and also actually, artists doesn't talk to people about the price you play.
Hmm.
So I think if you could get someone to help you with all the concerts, with the potential opportunities, and also to make you as to the next level, I think it's important for someone to help you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely.
the professional ones, because they are the people, they have relationships, they have relationship ties with the concert halls, with the management, other management things. So because
Yeah, that's a good point.
all the big conductors, they're all managed by some companies. If you're part of a company, so they will be doing their own artists with their own conductors.
Right.
So if you know what I mean. So it's sometimes we don't have that connections for as a musician, as a soloist, or chamber musicians, but
Right.
they do. So I think it really leave that job for them to do something for you, and you
Hmm.
doing the artistic sides.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing with our quartet. We're kind of all in house, and they've been going for years and years since I joined. But I'm definitely learning the cost of doing everything yourself, booking, artist management, doing all social media, and it's like, oh man,
Yeah.
sometimes we
But
like to focus
also,
on the artistic, but
yeah,
there's.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, also, so many concerts, it's actually people directly talking to you. You just give to the manager to that them to help you with all the details, or,
Right.
or, or the logistic things. Because, for example, I just met Third Coast Percussion in Hong Kong. So
Hmm.
we did a big festival in Hong Kong. So them guys have a manager, but also they really working really hard for themselves as well. They're
Right.
sending emails. So because four of them in a group, but each of the person are doing different things.
Yeah.
One person is going to talk about where can we go for the next concerts. One person's talk about the CDs. One is talk about festivals. One is talk about business. So four of them are very individual and doing different things for the group. So it really depends. And if, for example, you're in the marimba quartet, and what you four of you was to do. So yeah,
that's a good point. Well, thank you so much for all of this. I've taken some great notes and learned a lot in this past 30, 40 minutes. So thank you so much for your time, and thanks for listening to me. And it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, my great pleasure, Hunter.
All right. Great. Thanks, Hunter. Excellent work. All right, we're going to bring on Hoi Yin now.
Hi.
Hey. Hoi Yin, can you just maybe tell Leo a little bit about yourself? Maybe you guys know each other already.
Yes.
I don't know, but,
We do.
Yeah, okay.
I applied for Northern last year.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did.
Okay, cool.
Online.
She betrayed us.
So,
she betrayed us.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
We loved her audition. We loved her audition. We chatted with her, and she's so nice, and she's a great player. And we thought she's coming,
Sorry.
and she didn't.
Well, there we go. I'm going to move on swiftly to this performance now. I think I'm going to play Hop and Slide as well. So I'm not quite sure where it is on the timestamp, but I'll do my best. So yeah, here we go. This is 2 movements from Paul Lansky's 3 movements from marimba, which I'm sure, Leo, you know very well. So, all right.
Bravo, bravo.
Thank you.
This piece, Three Moves, is one of my favorite marimba solo piece. I've known
Oh,
I've known this piece for quite a long time. Actually, quite a lot of my students play this piece. I'm just thinking, for this piece, I think it's really about the style. I think, for example, especially the first movement, like Hope. This piece have a different versions. They have like a duo with violin.
oh yes. I think that's where this version of Hop came from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think maybe sometimes you can play chamber music with your friends. I think it's got a different idea of how this piece goes. And also, when you play this piece, this movement, Hope, what are you trying to do with this piece? What are you thinking? Because
Mm,
I see the video. You have a great technique. You play this piece so well, and the other one things it's what style you're trying to present, because this piece is very obvious the style wise, because people when they hear it they can feel the groove, they feel the things, but what are you trying to do?
Um, I'm just trying a more laid back approach to hop in general. Like just it's it's really groovy, but it's not that really hefty, really energetic groove. It's more like a laid back
Hmm.
type. That's what I'm trying to achieve.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if especially this movement, if you could slow down a little bit the tempo
Mm-hmm.
to really let the instruments sing by itself, I think it could be have a have a better result, I think,
Mm.
personally. Yeah. For example, da 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 dee. I feel right now. I think you played well. I mean, but I feel like it's very straight.
Mm-hmm.
I think you play well, but very straight. I wish you have some like oh da 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 dee da 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 dee da uh something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and also the malice wise, it's so important for this piece as well, because when I see the video, I think you use the number one wave series, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and also I think for us to hear online, you don't really hear the bass sound if you don't connect to the speaker. So
Right.
I think because Paul have used lots of bass of the instrument like low C and the low E flat, all very very low. So I think and also like da da dee da 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 dee da da da. So that kind of really rich, deep, fat bass
Mm.
sound, it really we want to hear it in the live performance. Obviously, for this kind of recording online, it's hard to hear. I think that's something maybe you should think about the melodies, or maybe
Mhm.
you could tell me why you choose this melodies. It's just personal, I think.
Yep, it's just I guess a personal choice, and I guess the room I recorded it in, it actually sounds quite well in that
Mm,
room. Yeah.
mm, mm. Yeah. Which is it like model 3 or 4 you're using?
For hop, I used 4333.
Okay, you could maybe try 5. The purple one, the base one. That
Yeah, yeah.
series.
I
Yeah, I
will.
think. Yeah, I think it really you can really go for it for the bass sound, and it's really because this movement is really really about because actually when he write music, it's there, so you don't have to do anything, but it's there. But I think as a performer, I think as a soloist, I think we need to help that kind of language to transform to life. So it really helped the audience to understand what kind of type of music
Mm-hmm.
and what kind of way you're trying to play. Like
Okay.
looking the music at the beginning.
Mhm.
And also with the time with kind of rhythm as well. Ba da 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 ba da da do da da beat da da da. As you said, you want a bit groovy
Mm-hmm.
as well. And what are you singing? Can you sing a little bit for this?
Okay. Ba-da-da-da, da-ba-da-dum. Da-da-da-ba-da-da-ba-da-da-dum. Ba-da-ba-da-da-da-bum. Ba-da-ba-da-da-dum.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-dum.
So can you tell already tell like the way we're both singing in a different way?
Yeah.
Can you tell?
Yeah, a bit.
I think so. I think that's how, because when I oh,
Wait.
what's the sound?
No, not it's not. I don't know.
No, it's good. No, it's good.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking boom da ba da ba da da boom ba da di ba da da ba da 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 boom di da boom da 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 di bang. See, I think when I sing it, I think I trying to have the groove. I trying to I'm in the groove actually. I'm singing like ba da 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 ba da da ba do da 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 di ba da ba, rather than just to play every single notes. I think
Mhm.
there's a few notes I really care about. A few notes I think it just I have to play and play it.
Okay.
If you know what I'm talking.
Mhm.
I think so. It doesn't have to be every single note played very clear, like da 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 something. So ba da 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 di ba da di. So you can see the music of the bass notes here. You can really probably circling the notes like the
Mhm.
low C
Yeah.
and E flat, B flat, and those I think composer is written down there very clear. You have a line underneath the, the notes, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's those the notes you have to mention about. So as what I'm saying, if you use bit heavier, I mean not heavier, I mean bass melodies,
Mhm.
you can go for it and to really let the bass sound really ring
Mhm.
from. So there's just it's quite clear, and also because when he writes music, it's always he likes to write different lines happening in the same time.
Mm.
Obviously technically it's really challenging. I know I can see like when you performing you're very focused and like don't get the wrong notes and don't think and just really perform and really play it. But I think um this instruments it's impossible instruments, like I know so many students, my students and other students are here, they want like, oh, it's all about the wrong notes, right notes, wrong notes. It's sometimes I said we're human beings. We're always gonna make something, especially those pieces for live performance. We're gonna hear something wrong or wrong notes or something. But as I said, it's fine as long as the musicality and the music you're trying to say is good. Then I think people will forgive if you have a one or two wrong notes.
Mhm.
So I think that's after those many years, the relationship with students when they're performing, and when they play a piece, when they play music. Sometimes they care about the wrong notes rather than actually what the music about. Because thinking about when you're going to a concert to play a piece, play music to your audience, it's
Mhm.
really about how they remember you as a person, as a performer.
Right.
I think those things are so important because I think um, it's like when you talk about Bach. Um, you will ask a teacher audience like what is wrong, what is right, what is the perfect style of Bach. Nobody can really direct answer the question because everybody play differently,
Mhm.
and also it's really a personal preference and really personal how I like the way and interpretations of this specific performer, really, I think.
Mhm.
So but for this for hope, I think it's the composer asking the performance there. So I think we need to use our language, our own language, to translate those little dots into live music and to help the audience to understand what you're trying to do,
Mm.
um, rather than too focused on something like this right is right. And as I said, to probably have quite a few people watching, it's an extremely hard piece. But people sometimes, I tried one time. I gave this piece to my students, and he's a great player. Um, and I said, you can play this piece to recital. And he left this piece too late. He was, really having a time performing this for his recital. He was like, "Oh my God, I never thought this piece is that hard."
Oh.
I told you at the beginning, I said, this is not an easy piece. You really need to use a lot of time to really looking at it and learn how to play it. Because when you have the music in front of you, oh, it's quite straightforward, right? It's like It's quite straightforward. But actually, when you play it, it's you tell everybody how you experienced learning this piece.
It's actually very tedious learning this, especially for hop, because it just utilizes the full range of the instrument.
And
And
it never repeats the same thing.
yes, there are a lot of really deceptively easy bits, I guess, in the entire 3 moves. But it's just really tiring to play. Even if you get in the groove, which I could have done better, musically, it's just really hard to transcend because everything just looks the same on the page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, it's not really the same. So
It's not the same.
Yeah, but when people are actually having the music in front of us, oh, it looks okay, it'll be fine. Give me 1 week, I'll come perform it. But when actually you're learning it, you'll be, oh my god, what's going on? This is like so hard. So that's why I really like his music, because it really gives the challenge to the people, to the performer, actually, to really looking. I think it's musically and technically challenging. Not only just sometimes some pieces are actually technically challenging and musically is that, but this piece is both. I think when you play the piece while it's technically challenging, you have to think the music where it goes, and which note of this paragraph, which note of this sentence. It's so important to bring out of this whole sentence or whole phrase. So I think that's what probably you should looking at to think where this music should want or you wants to go, and to make your own thing. Because now I see you can play it, but maybe with more personality, more personal things to really represent who you are. Because you're such a great player. Because when we met last year, and you're only first year students in your college, isn't that?
Yes.
So I think it's so great to have this process. I mean, in your age right now to learn it, and I think and also this really interesting is this piece. You after 1 or 2 years, you're coming back to learn this piece, to play this piece. It's a complete different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think after to maybe okay, now your first year, you're going to the second year, maybe third year, you're going back to play this piece again. You will feel a different way. Sure, I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have more experiences in the professional setting, in the environment, I think when your music growing as well, after 2 years, when you're coming back, when you play it, you'll be like, oh, I can do this little bit things differently as well. Because with the comments here, I only write 2 words. I said style, question mark, mallets, question mark. So I think that's what we've been talking about. But do you have any question or specifically you want to ask for this?
I actually want to ask for hop. How would you see the overall structure of the entire pieces? Because a lot of the sections, like whether in groove or like phrasing wise, it's a lot of it is quite similar. So how would you take the overall gist of this movement in particular?
I think like when you play this piece, as I said, when what he wants, he's writing down there. It's already when you play it, it's there. But I think when you, as we just said, because it repeats a lot of things, so you have to make sure that's okay. When it repeats, come back, you need to look in the music. Should I do the first phrase louder, quieter? Should I be more forward? Should I be more laid back? Should I do a little bit changing? I think when you're looking at, you need to have your own way how you do this piece. For example, for example, if this piece repeats 5 times, and those 5 times you give an idea of beginning and end, and what else in between you can digest in the different ways. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I do. If I do a piece, for example, this piece, this maybe 5 sessions and repeats the similar thing, but obviously it's different, keys and music. So I'll be thinking, okay, what I want to do for the first, what I want to do for the last, what I want to do for the second, the third, and the fourth. So I'll be make sure it's a different sessions and how I repeat, how I do the music, so people don't get bored. I think that's the question. How you play this piece to the audience, which is repeats the similar rhythm, similar kind of form, and people doesn't get tired to listen to it for those 4 minutes piece, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think, and sometimes people doing quite extremely different, but that's also interesting. But I think for you, for example, you want to use this piece for exams or for competitions or for your own concerts. Also, it could be a different way to think about this piece as well. I think for a very good, interesting actually experience I had. I was judging in China National Percussion Competition, so I was with the RNC and Percussion Ensemble in China. So all my students they were watching the competition. So there's a one student he played Meditation Number One by Casey Gangolose. So in the middle parts, I think he improvised. He did his own little thing. He added in Asalado in it, and played it so well. It's a very show performance, and he was absolutely great. And on top of the everybody else, and I give him a lowest mark because it was a competition. So all my students came to me like, why would you give this mark to him? Like, what happened? He was clearly the top person, but why you gave him a lowest mark? I said, firstly, it's a competition. Everybody required to play the same piece, but he improvised. He added something else which is not written in the music. So
Oh.
based on that, I have to give a fair mark to everyone else because everybody else requires the same. So I need to base on that because he what he did is it against the regulations because that was a competition. That if this performance was in his own solo concert or it's something related to the performance, I will personally come to him. I will be like, "This is a great performance. You had a great idea, and you made it very personal. I can remember this performance for so long. I mean, it's about 10 years. I still can remember this performance. So yeah, he made it very special, but just not in the right channel, if you know what I mean. That's why we're talking about competitions, concerts, exams. So you could think about a piece in a different ways when you're doing a different occasion. If that answers your question.
Yes. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so I just want to give you a broad kind of idea how you think the music, but there's never right or wrong answers about anything. It's about the creativity, how you make it, how you make your own, and people can remember you. Because I never want the students to think, oh, this is my teacher. I wanted to play just like this person, he or she. I just want to play. So people won't remember a Lang Lang 2 or Yu Jia Wang 2 or 3, right? You want people to remember you as Ho Ying On. So I think that's so important to make it very personal, individual. So, but in the appropriate occasion, if that's right.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anything else you want to ask? I mean, third movement's great.
Okay.
Yeah. But one little thing. So towards to the end of the music,
Yeah.
I think you rushed a little bit, like I think I don't know what happened. If you remember what I'm saying,
Is it very, very end?
not very very end, but towards the end.
Oh, is it when the 3-4 sections starts?
Yeah, like I think you were like
Yeah, I think so too. When yeah.
yeah. When do you hear that?
Is it in letter F
Let me see.
when that happened?
I think it was like a scale going up to the top register.
Oh, letter E, perhaps?
Not the double line. I think it's a not like let me look. But there's one bit I was really kind of like, oh, I recognize this something went wrong. Do you remember where I'm talking about?
I don't.
Yeah, let me find it. It's somewhere. Wait. I think there's a tempo and also phrase changing, and it's a let me. It's going up, I remember.
Hmm.
I think perhaps it's page 18, page 9,
Yeah.
116, 116.
Oh, okay, okay. I know what you're talking about now.
I think that's where something happened.
I think I was rushing the last 6 semi-quavers or something.
Yes, you did, I think. Yeah, it was quite obvious. So
Okay.
don't use this video for competition.
Okay.
I think. So what else you want to ask me?
As for the style in movement 3, is it suitable? Does the groove
I
come
like
clearly?
I think third movement and the first movement is so different. First movement is it's something you have to like dance basically. You have to have that kind of feeling. But the third movement is like very direct. It's always about the lines.
So I just let the music flow naturally, and then the groove will come out as such.
Yeah, for me, yes, I think, and also very clear because the melody choice you use for that movement is very clear and very very direct. So I have no problem with that. Besides of that, this Russian little bit, the Russian bit you had, I think, I feel, yeah, and also in the end, you just really go for it. Because sometimes I feel when I see you perform, I think you control yourself a little bit too much, but let it go. I know it's a hard piece, but let it go. I think now you're playing very safe, but I don't want you. I don't want that safe. I don't want that safe side. I just want you go for it. It's like wow, you nail it. Because when you're trying to play safe, I feel like I'll be sitting there like, oh my god, is she gonna play next session? Will be have something wrong or something? You know, I don't want to give that worry in my head in my heart. I just want you to really go for it, really kind of bang. Because the third one is just there.
Okay.
I think.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for the advice. It's really helpful.
No problem. Do you have anything else you want to ask me? I think we have 1 minute.
I don't. For sure. Yeah,
Okay.
no. Yep, no questions.
Or anything else you want to ask? Not related to this performance.
Not really. I might get back to you when I think of something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks.
All right. Well done, Huyen.
Thank you.
Okay, we are getting a little bit behind, so we need to speed things up a little bit. Good. We're going to go to Poland with Tomasz.
Hi.
Hello, Thomas.
Hi.
Hello.
Good. Do you guys know each other already?
No.
No, not yet.
Okay, Tomasz, do you want to tell Leo a little bit about yourself?
Sure.
And I'll cue your video up.
Yeah, so my name is Tomasz. I'm from Poland, currently doing my master's in Katowice. Just finished my first year. And yeah, mostly I'm doing vibraphone and a bit of marimba, which you will see right now. And I came to you with a piece that I found some time ago. I'm not sure if anyone knows it. It's a Polish piece by Grażyna Pstrokońska-Nawratil. Yeah, I've been learning that name for quite a long. We have some difficulties with that as well. Yeah. Piece is called An Algorithm of the Dream of a Great City. And yeah, I've been looking for just a different piece that would push me forward. And I think I might have found it. It's still, I consider it a work in progress, but I think it's on a good way, or at least it's ready enough to show it to you, and I would love your opinion about the whole thing.
Yeah, great. So are you okay with sort of maybe playing half of this one, because it's quite long?
It is very long, but I would really appreciate maybe the whole piece and then even a short just idea about the whole thing, because I'm not sure, like this piece is a very weird, and I'm not sure if the idea would speak enough if it's only half. So I'm good with very
Okay.
short.
I'm just wondering,
comments.
could we play from second page, the third lines, because it
Yeah.
seems it seems like it repeats the first page.
I mean, the whole piece is basically the two themes that are being changed and everything. So
That's fine.
Yeah.
Let's play the whole thing. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
thank you.
Alrighty.
Hey, I can see someone singing in the background as well.
Yeah.
So it's very, I think it's very interesting piece. Can you tell me a little bit about this piece and how you think to play this piece? Because I written down quite a few things about I want to ask you as well.
Yeah. Basically, I got the score by accident, so to speak, because the scores are published by the Polish music publisher, and they are part of a anthology, like marimba music anthology or whatever. This is the set of pieces that you buy if you want to buy Toccata by Ignatowicz Glinska in the original scores. So then later I was just going through everything I have and looking what else to play this year. And honestly, that's how I got it. I just thought it's something else. I haven't really heard anything like this looking at the score, and I didn't really find any recordings of it yet. And then, in terms of how I'm thinking about this, like the name of a piece is just really speaking to me. Like there's an algorithm of a dream of a great city. The first theme, like the beginning, I feel like it's this noise of a city, and then you try to fall asleep, and then it's going back to the city. It's throwing you back from that dream, but in the end, you start dreaming, and that's when it's like the fourth page when you take the medium hard mallets, and with those mallets you go to the end of a piece. I feel that from now on, up to the end, it's just one big dream, and you end on waking up.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like it feels like a journey actually. This piece to me, like when I hear this piece, like from different sessions and how it connects. So for how you did it, I think I can tell like you're trying to give so many different ideas into this one piece. One thing I want to ask you first is, um, why did you play on the edge of the bars? Were you just trying to give a different sound, or what are
Yeah.
you trying to do?
First of all, different sound. Second of all, ease of mind. Like I really wanted to give as much force as I can, especially for the first like fortissimo tremolos. And since it's on the lowest bars, I really don't want to break those bars.
Yeah,
That's why I also chose the lightest mallets I have, like the Van Size mallets. I thought
yeah,
they will work nicely. And
yeah,
honestly, the sound, like in the moment, it felt right.
yeah. And I feel like because there's two sessions, you repeat the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think as you said, you want to try to give a different sound world. I think if beginning you decide to play on the edge of the bars, maybe
Mm-hmm.
second time coming back, you should try to maybe move towards to the center. So it which is a similar sessions, but actually it have a different sound. So it
Mm-hmm.
means like you're in a dream of the city, actually give a different dream. I feel. So if you want to try, I mean, it's just like uh, I'm not telling you to change it. I'm just telling you to if you have a try a different kind of way to think, because
Well,
yeah, sorry,
yeah, just to quickly jump in, I kind of did because also the on the second page when the bass
yeah,
it comes back, basically it's also a bit different. It's with four mallets now, and there are chords, and
yeah.
with chords I'm no
You know,
longer on the edges as
yeah,
well.
you know what happened. I think at the beginning, I think it works really well off the sound if you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
explore. But second time when it's four mallets on the edges, sometimes when the notes is too a lot of notes happening, I feel sometimes I'm missing few of the notes. I can
Okay,
hear
yeah.
I can hear some of the notes, but some of the notes I can't really hear. So
Yeah.
that's why I was asking. So when the second time coming back, what happened? Is it? Because I was wondering if the compose written down you have to use that, but actually I've checked the music it's not.
No,
So
no, it's not.
I think it's purely your imagination of how to play it. But I think maybe just try, give it a try. As long as it's
I will.
clear, I think as long as it's clear, I can hear. Because as I said, it feels like a journey. You're trying to bring us on a journey with you. So I do want some these connections while you're playing. but you try and do it. I can feel it how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
So which is good. And also, I feel it's a one piece, right? So you
Yeah.
decide to change melodies in between, but I think so importantly, the after the first one, like the two melodies that are really loud,
Yeah.
you putting down a melody, change a new melody to it. The movement of changing the melodies, it has to be still in the music.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I feel the connections because, for example, you're doing like da da. Oh, my watch. Um, and then when you put the movement, when you put down your melodies, you change your
Mm-hmm.
new melody. You're going to play the very soft, quiet bits. So the movement and the breathing and also your movement actually is part of music.
Yeah.
If you decide to change the melodies, if you could connect your movement and your breathing to connect to the next session, it helps me and also it helps
Mm-hmm.
your audience to
Yeah.
understand you're trying to move on to the next session. But if, for example, you play it very loud, just finish, and then I feel the music stopped there.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know definitely. Like I
It's
have
how.
to change mallets because that's what she asks for, and honestly, I found it really hard. Like I was trying with
Hmm.
getting mallets behind me, but that didn't really work. Then in the back, like I'm really all about connecting and everything. That's why I thought that I should already move with the time of the of the slow sections, but
Hmm.
it would make more sense now thinking about this, maybe putting them off, like the hard mallets, putting them off out very fast and with this energy, and if I take the soft mallets, it can be with the next
Yeah,
energy
I
or
think I think
something.
yeah, I think it really is the movement. I think I mean it's great that you change melodies and get different sound, and I think the white melodies it works really well for the second session, and
Yeah.
really gives like on the because they harmonize so much, so you can hear the harmonies changing, and
Mm-hmm.
also like people like okay, it's a mood changing. So if the movement of yourself move to help us to understand the music, because I feel sometimes some people like when they play they always like so like they're doing this before they play or in the middle of session of when there's transition into different sessions they're doing this kind of things. I feel like
Yeah.
it needs to stop there when they have this little habits if
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking.
Definitely, I agree definitely
Yeah,
as
because I've
well.
seen
Like
people
it's
playing they just like moving this like I was like, no, you're in the music. If you change to the next other sessions, then you have to really even though your movement, you change your melodies, everything it has to be in the music. So people
yeah.
don't stop their imagination. For example, it's a trip, it's a journey with the performer when they're trying to presenting a music. Then every movement you do is part of the music.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sometimes we're talking, when we're going to lectures, when we're going to these music talks, we always talk
Yeah.
about the breathing. The breathing is because as a human we breathe, right? The breathing it brings music to life. So I think it's so important that the movement we do. Um, and also later on, I hear a few bits, and I think the interesting session is I think you have little things, little boxes, little houses that
Yeah.
you play certain of the time and then you change, you move on, you move on, you move on.
Um, do you could you say like which page it is exactly?
I
Like
think
small, is it page
page
6?
yeah, page 6.
Yeah.
So what
It's
do you
it's
try to
honestly so hard.
I know
This is the
how,
first time I was asked to do this, I guess like ripple tremolo or something. Like this is what she wrote down in. I'm not sure if I gave it to you. No, I didn't, because she wrote down exactly what she wants. Like this movement, like it has to be exactly in this like yeah, BD G flat, E flat. So I can't do really tremolo or like loose tremolo. It really has
Yeah.
to be 4 notes after one after another.
Yeah, because I was seeing you playing. I was curious, like how you manage the time. So with each of the little boxes, how long you play and how you do.
It's basically what she wrote, or at least I'm trying to get as close as it's possible. So the first note is the length of the whole box. So like quarter note, and so on. So honestly, with the timing, you have some relantandos, a tempo, but it's not very loose. Like I'm really trying to give what she gave me.
Hmm. Yeah, and also I think because this is such a long session, it's a long piece. Because I think when she gives to you, I think you have every little box, every because you're doing those tremolos and doing things. I think you have to move on a little bit because
Okay.
and also I think the tremolo speed you can also digest. Sometimes you
Yeah.
can move slow, sometimes you can move really fast and move on. So we can follow you. Otherwise, I think if you stick in this session for too long, I feel like I was like, why are we still here?
Yeah, I
What are you
was
doing?
trying to change the speed depending also on the dynamics, but
Mhm.
I didn't want to lose this brilliant color. And if I slowed down too much when I was practicing,
Yeah,
it lost the character. And also I like my maximum speed is in the bottom, like when I get the triple forte on the lowest bars. So
yeah.
that was
You
my top level, and
yeah,
I couldn't really move that much
yeah.
within this.
You know what I'm saying is in
Yeah.
general speaking as an audience, if
Hmm.
I'm just sat here to listen to you performing the piece, not you, I mean just purely talk about the piece. If the tremolo is going to the similar speed all the way for this for 2 3 minutes,
Yeah.
I will get bored. I think you will get bored as well.
Yeah.
Probably you're playing it, you don't probably realize that. But I think as an audience, I'm sitting there. When I hear it, I'll be like, why is we're still here? Why we're not moving on? What's going on next? So it's not beyond my expectations. I'll be feel like, oh, it's still here. But if you do something for each little different boxes, for your speed of the tremolo, because it's really easy when we do rolls, right, with the instruments. If it's for example, if you play Evelyn Glennie's Prayer,
Yeah.
if the whole piece you play in exactly the same speed, like da, 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 dee, da, dee,
Yeah,
da,
of
you
course.
get bored. So it
Yeah.
always like when you go up, when you're going down, and when it's louder, when it's quieter, when it's the harmony is going up or going down, your speed of the roads will really help the music
Hmm.
going forward, moving, rather than stick in the same thing. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, but that's very interesting for me because I felt I've been doing that. Like I tried so much, but technically also that she
And also,
demands this weird movement. Do you
I'm
think I
telling you,
could explore also going
yes, Thomas,
down in that
yeah,
section?
Thomas, I'm telling you something. My own experiences, because
Yeah,
I know every modern living composer asking performers play a piece in a specific way, but actually, surprisingly, sometimes the performer actually doing something, digest something to them. They be like, "Oh, when I write this piece, I didn't think about that way, but you did it really well. I
yeah,
really like it." So
okay,
sometimes when they give some information ideas there, they think, oh, this is what I think in my head. But actually, as a performer, we translate their language into life. They were
yeah,
like, oh, this is actually something interesting. So you have to make sure that there's some your own personalities, your own interpretations into your music.
yeah.
I don't think that the composer will be get angry with you. I think perhaps she will be happy with you because you're trying the different ways to bring the music to life. I think because, for example, if I play this piece, probably it's different than what you play as well. But it's nothing wrong or right, but just different way. I think if you do
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
music is, I think the music there is instructions, but
Hmm.
how you're doing it is important.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. I hope I answered the question online as well. I've seen like Yu Chen asking questions about. I'm curious.
Ah,
Yeah,
good spot.
Yeah.
maybe I believe this is regarding the parts that I'm playing slowly and everything. I think
think
I
so.
should say that it's not a tremolo. Those are eighth notes written out in tempo. Uh, I believe, yeah, andante. It's tranquillo, delicato, e fiabesco. So I believe she wanted something on the edge of tremolo, which is still, you can get the distinct notes, but the harmony is getting connected at the same times.
Yeah. I hope I answered both of the questions.
Yeah.
You Chen and also you. I think it's sometimes I think after performing for a long time and after you working with living composers for so many times and you know how actually the expectations from them and also surprisingly they're all most of them really open mind to the performance to give a new idea for them as well because they're not the instrumentalist. So I think they're expecting you to give some ideas to them as well. So I think, yeah, I think it's good.
Thank you.
Good spot on that one, Leo. I missed that. Yeah. Great job. Thank you, Tomasz, as ever.
Thank you.
All right, and then we're going to pop across to Venezuela.
Woo!
David.
Hello, how are you?
Good evening. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
How are you? Are you okay? Can you hear me?
Hello,
Can you
David.
hear me?
Yep. So I'm just going to cue your video up if you want to just tell Leo a little bit about yourself and what you're going to be performing.
Okay. Well, I'm David Fernandez, Venezuelan percussionist. I'm actually living in Caracas. I'm part of one of the professional orchestras here in El Sistema, and I'm also member of the Catatumbo Percussion Ensemble. I will play virtually the lute suite from Bach, the Allemande.
All right. Here we go.
Bravo, David.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. How long you have been working on this piece?
At the moment of the recording, for like maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. Have you heard the lute? The original instruments playing this piece.
Yeah, yeah, I hear it, but some of the most of the versions was quite slow than the version that I play.
Mm-hmm.
They was like bum 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 bum, so slow.
Okay. So what are you trying to do with this piece? What are you trying to bring out the melodies and the harmonize the piece? Because sometimes, when people, playing Bach and especially playing those kind of lute suites, it's so different how the interpretations they are. So I'm not trying to change you anything. I'm just want to trying to find out what are you trying to do, what are you trying to say, and then maybe to help you a little bit to maybe even try to do even more. What are you trying to do? I think.
Okay. Well, I was trying to not do so traditional Bach interpretation, and I think it's a little bit clear when I do this much of rubatos or I move that much the tempo. I think, and I wanted to bring out so much the lowest voices, the lowest notes, because in some of the version that I hear from lute, I don't hear that much the bass notes, and for me they are so much important in all the context harmonic of the piece.
I think, yeah, I think for
Okay.
that point, I think because the instrument itself, for the bass sound, of course, our instruments, marimba, can give a really strong, deep sound of the instrument. So
Okay.
so we can have our own things for that piece, for the music of this. And also, interestingly enough, you were just saying about the sound. Give more sound of the instruments on marimba, because I see you use a different technique. You use one hand to play the scales. You're
Yeah.
doing that. So when you're playing in a bigger concert hall for this piece, and I'm just wondering, have you ever tried to use two mallets, two hands playing rather than just one hand? And
Okay.
why you choose to use one hand?
I tried to do it with one hand, thinking in the theoretical pianistic approach and
Yeah.
thinking on the connection of all the note with that 100 way to play. I want
Mm,
to connect in the best way that I thought that we be doing it like 100.
because that's quite interesting because it's so for about this kind of topic, it's really purely kind of personal choice. I'm sure people who are watching right now agrees as well, because as you said, I agree with what you said, one hand to connect music, but also sometimes for me, if I use two hands like a ba da 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 dee da, those
Okay.
kind of scale and things, I think within a bigger concert hall, I think it could be sound wise could be very individual and also could bring out the things, because also it connects. I think it's just a different approach and different way to play things. But I mean, maybe you could try. I'm sure, I don't know if you have tried to use to hand, just to try a different sound and different way. I think it definitely have a different sound wise. The volume wise is different. I think it's purely like where you perform. Sometimes the bigger concert halls, sometimes recital halls. I think um, it depends the venue. It depends on the instruments, and also it depends on the mallets you're using. Are you using a set the same mallets, or are you using like a combination mallets?
No, I'm using one kind of mallet in all the four positions.
Okay, so in that perspective, like because this piece involves quite a lot bass, so why don't you try to use a combination mallets?
I thought about that, but I don't be so sure doing that because as I use the left hand so much that in that way of 100 notes. So I don't want it that hear it that that. I wanted the same song in all the scales. So I don't feel so sure about that.
Yeah, I think maybe so this is kind of related to the last question. I think maybe if you could have time, because you know you learn the notes all really well, and you have your own musical you know music approach of this piece.
Okay.
Maybe just one day, just try to use a combination melodies with a bass and the middle two the same, and maybe actually top three are same, and then with a bass melodies, and just to try to individual like hand to hand way, and also try to the sound how it feels. I mean, it probably give you a different idea as well of the same piece. I think,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I know your concerns about you don't want to the one hand playing
Yeah.
the thing,
Yeah.
but that's also, yeah, absolutely. I agree. You probably have that problem, but also within this piece, you're saying like you want to bring out the bass more, you want to bring the lines more. I think it could be a different way. Just try both and say which one is
Okay. And
you prefer.
if I play as you are recommend me that play the scales with both hands, of course I can use bass mallet for
Yeah,
the bass notes. So
yeah.
I can try that. Yeah.
Yeah, you try it and see how it goes, and maybe email me like say how it feels. I want to hear actually what your thoughts about different. If you know both ways how to play, I just want to know like how you feel, and which way have some good things, which way some I want to know both ways how you feel. Yeah,
Okay.
and also I think when I seen your performance, one thing I realized, I recognized, it's the way you're playing the instruments, because I feel right now your energy and the way of you playing the instruments is all here. I don't feel your
Okay.
shoulders, everything are relaxed enough. So I feel sometimes the sound it's just on top of the marimba, but not really giving out.
Okay.
You're really trying to relax your upper body. So trying to relax your upper body and relax your shoulders. So when
Okay.
you really, so when you perform it, when you practice the instruments, you really let your whole arm, it's relaxed. So just to try this, like just drop, just put your hands on top of your head and drop it naturally. So it's just exactly the same feeling how you play the instruments, but obviously you have some little control when you play the instruments. Otherwise, you will break the marimba. So I wanted you to have this kind of natural feeling and how you play the instruments. You will surprisingly to hear a bigger sound, not loud, but I mean bigger sound. I mean a
Okay.
rich sound of the instrument to really help the instrument to sing. As you said, you wanted to sing this instrument to sing. So that's something really important. Malice choice, a weight, the weight of the malice choice. I hear the video you played. I think the malice it's heavier malice, isn't it?
Yeah, there are backhand ones.
Yeah,
Backhand
that's
medium soft one.
yeah.
The
So I
yellow.
yeah, I can hear the weight of the malice is quite heavy. So so that malice always already give you something really helps you. So if you could be relaxed a little bit more to get an even bigger sound with the lines you're trying to say, I think that
Okay.
would be even more great. I think. And also, I realized there's one bit. I think there's a wrong notes.
Yeah, the in the second part, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You're
Yeah.
wrong now.
Because,
Yeah.
because I'm sure you pre-recorded this recording. I wasn't sure if you landed it wrong or you played it wrong. But so I just want to
No,
bring
no,
it up.
I know that there was few wrong notes. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
but it's fine. As I said, this instrument is impossible. It's few rounds is fine. I'm just because it's recording, so I don't want you to. I don't want it to. I want to just make sure that you not learn it wrong. You played it just by accident.
Okay. Well, about the sound, I'm actually agree with that. I'm sometimes are a little bit tense, or I'm not absolutely relaxed in the core, in the
Mm,
of my body. But
mm,
in this piece, particularly, I don't try to bring out that much sound in that way. I mean, I try to bring out the bass notes on the lower phrases of the piece,
mm,
but I don't want it to get this kind of big sound of in this piece. I
Yeah,
wanted to get like a quite small sound, but I don't know how to explain it.
yeah.
So
I, I know,
because
I know, I know exactly what you mean, David. I think what I'm talking is not about the volume of how you play for this piece. I'm talking about the
projection.
way. Yeah, I'm talking about the
Okay.
way and also the connections you said. The way
Yeah.
how you play the instruments, because you still can play quietly for the volume, but relaxed. So this is the fundamental thing when you play the instruments. I always telling my students, I said, you need to have this, relax your shoulders when you play. Because what I'm saying is after a long time you play it, you get injured for your shoulder.
Yeah.
You will hurt yourself. I don't want you to hurt yourself. I want you to relax. Even though you want to play quiet, you don't want to play like woo, bigger songs. Not like, Doctor. I'm not saying that kind of way. I'm just saying like you relax.
Okay. Yeah.
Relax your body. I think this is so important because I've seen the video, so I feel like there's some tensions of your shoulders, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
It's just relax to protect yourself when you're playing
Yeah.
instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. Not the volume. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Understand. Yeah.
great. Do you have any questions for me?
Mm, about the piece. Well,
For
some
anything?
something that I thought at the moment of play the piece is it's doing this thing about make the second repetition or the second time that I play that everything section played differently. So
Hmm.
more in the second section, I play uh some I don't know how to call it in English. Some kind of tremolo in in the latest section of the second part of this.
Hmm.
Uh, like, mm, do you
I
have
think
this?
I think because for Bach's piece, because everybody play in different way. I think
Okay,
of course you could try the second time repeat. You play a different way of the first time you played. I think
okay,
it's always good to try different things, but because there's never a right or wrong thing. As long as it fits in the music, as long as it fits what you're trying to say, it doesn't kind of go into some other ways, which is not Bach wanted. I think it's absolutely fine.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
As long as the music itself, the whole piece as a whole page, it looks good, it sounds good. You can change different things because it's with the repeats, right?
Okay,
So yeah, it's absolutely fine. So as long as you're happy and you think this is what I want, and also this is because, for example, what I'm always saying is you could have your own interpretations of someone's music, but within this frame, you can be on top of the frame, you can be on the lowest point of the frame, but don't go too extreme. If you know what I mean. If
yeah,
I talk to you like this, you can't see me in the thing, but I can be here. You still can see me, right? You still can
okay,
see my face. But if I'm here, you can't see my face. Rather in the middle.
yeah, yeah.
I hope you
Okay,
understand what I'm saying.
yeah. I understand. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
that's good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, David. Leo, I don't know if you've got like 5 minutes just to answer any final parting questions.
Of course.
I know it's really late with you, so we're not going to hold you up too long. But we'll just bring a few people on just in case they had any last minute questions. Anyone have a question?
I'm gonna take a picture of this.
Yeah.
Everybody smile. Cool.
No questions.
Or
I do
anyone
have
from?
one really casual one.
Come on then.
Okay,
How was Hong Kong?
was great. It was raining. It was raining. Surprisingly, it rained all week.
Oh,
So nobody have so basically everybody. So we're gathering in a rooftop bar. So actually, Colin Curry and the Colin Curry Quartet arrived in that evening. So and Third Coast was there, and Dream Moon from the Tintin Juliet. So everybody was there. So that was a night we gathering together on top of the roof bar, but we can't see Hong Kong. It's in the clouds. It rained all week. I'm so sorry. I feel like I bring the Manchester rain to Hong Kong. I was like, what's going on? Like I rained all week.
That's really unfortunate.
But everybody loved the food, everything, and so it was great.
Yep. It must be great to have some actual good food rather than like British food for the change.
Sorry, Tim.
Sorry, Tim.
No, it's quite all right. It's quite all right. Anyone else? Any final questions?
I was just going to ask. Oh, sorry,
yeah.
David, go ahead.
Go on,
No,
David.
don't worry. Go
No,
ahead.
you go. David, yeah, go for it.
Okay. I have one question about the presence of a performer in front of an instrument, because I feel like sometimes we have different presence in front of the instruments, or of a marimba or a timpani or a multi-percussion set, sorry. And I want to know if you have some advices to have more present, to have more confidence, or in talking like as a performer, as the
I feel like so instruments is an extension of our body. I feel when I perform on the stage, I feel as long as you're comfortable to standing or sit down in front of your instruments, I think it's always like how you represent yourself with the instruments. So instruments is part of yourself, basically part of your body. So if you're comfortable enough to in front of instruments to really trying to say what you prepared or what you've been practicing in the practice rooms to your audience, I think that's fine. You don't have to specifically prepare how actually standing in front of the instruments and how which way is the best, which way is not good. I don't think that there's such a way is right or wrong, as long as you're comfortable to in control. Like for example, the height of your marimba, the height of the snare drum. Sometimes you put the snare drum too low and sometimes too high, and then your arms gonna hurt the instruments or something. As long as it's comfortable and you feel like the height of the instruments and also the length of the instruments with you, it's good. You feel comfortable. I think that should be fine.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Hunter.
Yeah, just kind of tagging off of the last question that was asked. So were you at the Tika Festival with Louis?
Yes.
Oh man, I went there back in 2018, their first festival as a participant. And
Wow.
I heard you talking about them, and I was like, oh my gosh, I had totally blast from the past. So it's awesome that you're out there. I totally missed being in Hong Kong. So
Yeah, it was great, Tika.
awesome. Yeah, it's great things he's doing there. So
Yeah, you should come back next time to perform that.
honestly, that sounds fun. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, Tomasz, any last final parting words?
Well, honestly, just thank you. Like this is a piece that I really wanted to have someone to really show something new for me to really explore. And thank you so much. That's definitely
Great pleasure.
All right. Well, I think this seems a natural part to conclude. We are 2 hours and 2 minutes in, so just 2 minutes over, not too bad. Leo, as ever, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to let you get some sleep. And WPG continues on Friday. We've got Marta Klimasara on Friday, so we're really looking forward to that session with her, starting on Friday at 6 till 8:30 UK time. But I'm sure you will see more information on our Facebook page in due course, just to keep in touch. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch up with you soon.